Anyone who watched the Garfield movie knows it's one of the most entertaining films of the year. But did you notice a number that kept popping up throughout the movie about the cat who hates Mondays? Right at the beginning of the animation, when we see Garfield unlocking his phone, he types in a password. And if you look closely, you'll see the numbers are 061978. And apparently, this is a random code, right? Wrong! This is because, shortly after, we see the same number appearing on the trash can next to the dumpster where Garfield's dad leaves the kitty waiting while it's raining. What does this number mean, after all? It's a reference to the date the Garfield comic strip debuted, June 19, 1978, hence the numbers 061978. A nice homage. Another cool detail happens right at the beginning, too. Notice among the apps on Garfield's phone, used for ordering his, in quotes, little snack, there are icons that are on every smartphone, like clock and contacts location, but apart from those, he has basically food and sleep apps. In other words, we basically see Garfield's lifestyle completely described in a few icons on a phone. The pizzeria where Garfield orders his pizza early in the movie exists, but with a small difference. Instead of Mama Leone with an I, it's called Mama Leone with an E, meaning it existed until 1994, located in New York, and was very famous for its excellent Italian dishes. Garfield's breakfast is at 9:17 in the morning, indicating that indeed the laziest cat in the cartoon world doesn't even have a remotely healthy routine. Except for Mondays, when he takes a bath and needs to go to the vet that John is in love with. And that's why he hates that day so much. The orange cat has no other obligation than eating and sleeping as much as he wants and can. And this movie moment makes that very clear. The waiter who serves John is Vito, the same name as the head of the Corleone family from the globally famous trilogy of films The Godfather. A reference to one of Hollywood's most famous Italian characters, perhaps, which would make sense since it's an Italian restaurant. When John moved from the apartment to a house because they didn't accept pets, Garfield let his human adopt one more pet, Odie. And at the moment they run through the living room, we can see John is reading a book, and the title of the book is The Great Gatsby, which is a parody of the famous book The Great Gatsby, but adapted to a feline version, which has much more to do with Garfield, isn't it? When John is working in his drawing room, we can see a reminder above written, "For Jim." This is a reference to Garfield's creator himself, Jim Davis. Once again, we see John in his free moments reading another classic literature book, or at least it seems, a version of Shakespeare's masterpiece, Romeo and Juliet. Another feline version of Romeo and Juliet, the classic tale of impossible love, showing that indeed John is feeling a bit lonely. And in honor of poor John's love life, let's comment today, #lonely down below. The detail is that Garfield's human is interrupted so that the lazy cat's new armchair can be comfortably placed in front of the TV, so the feline can comfortably watch cat flicks, which, needless to say, is a clear and blatant reference to Netflix that we all know. While Garfield is watching something random on his feline streaming, Odie changes it to a very rough version reminiscent of mushy Mexican soap operas, which those with a softer heart love to watch. And it seems that's the case for both Odie and John, and not at all for Garfield, since he doesn't like overly emotional stuff. When Garfield gently puts John to sleep after the poor guy dozes off while working, we can see he covers him, puts an eye mask on him, and a headphone to block noises. And of course, the headphones would be from Sony, which is the same owner of Sony Animation, the company that produced the new Garfield movie. When Jinx tells her story to the sound of the piano, she mentions she came from England to the United States to try her luck in show business. And when we see her getting off the bus, she's in front of a place with a huge sign that reads American Next Top Feline. This is a clear reference to the globally renowned talent show called America's Got Talent. Not only that, Jinx saying she came from a small town near London, the English capital, is not a coincidence, because the main organizer of this talent show in real life is Simon Cowell, who is actually from England. So that was a little nod to the big talent scout. When John gets up early in the morning, we can see more clearly the frames hanging on the wall, both of Garfield and Odie, and we can see they are homages to the classic drawings of the two characters being exactly identical copies. Then, when Garfield's human opens the closet, we can see a classic reference to cartoons, hangers with several identical clothes, which explains why John always wears the same blue shirt every day since he only has blue shirts. Also, inside the same closet, we can see what appears to be John's exercise bike, which we had seen earlier completely disassembled. In fact, Odie had used the bike itself as a place to hang John's shirts before. To be able to enter Lactose Farm, Garfield, Vic, and Odie ask for Otto's help and promise to release his beloved Ethel if he helps them. During the training, we see the purple bull using a piece of white horn as support and also to explain his plan. besides hitting Garfield's head a few times. What many people didn't notice is that this horn piece is exactly Otto's own, as we can see that one of his horns isn't complete. As we see in Otto's own flashback, his horn broke somehow between the moment Marge separated him from Otto and when he met Garfield and his group. But it's not told how or when that happened in the story. But this probably happened one of the several times the Purple Bull said he tried to free his beloved Ethel, but without success. The hint of this happens when he tries to create a distraction for Garfield, Vic, and Odie, and he rubs his head, indicating that trying to break the electric fence surely makes his head hurt. When Marge translates Jinx's meows and discovers that Garfield's group is planning to break into the factory and steal milk the next day, she returns to her office. And we can see on her mirror there are some papers stuck on it, and one of them is written Laser Focus, which if you notice well forms the initials LF, which are the same initials as Lactose Farm, which we see everywhere, like on the door of Marge's office, which surely isn't a coincidence. And it surely isn't a coincidence that you're watching our video now. I think Destiny wants you to subscribe to our channel. When Vic meets Jinx to deliver the stolen milk truck from Lactose Farm, we notice that the stones on her necklace change colors more times than usual, even turning green, besides the blue and red colors we had seen at other times. This proves that the stones on her necklace are personality stones, indicating that Jinx has multiple personalities, with the blue color representing tranquility, red representing anger, green representing satisfaction, and violet representing fear. These are the same colors we can see on the train cars where Jinx traps Vic in the final moments of the film to carry out her sinister revenge plan, which are blue, green, violet, and red. When Garfield and Odie are in the pound, we can see the story takes place in July, as can be noticed by the calendar next to the cats in their cages. The scene where drones appear with the sun in the background is a reference to scenes where army helicopters or planes appear in the background, mainly in war movies. One of these happens in the movie Top Gun with Tom Cruise. Even the background music is the same as in the movie. The reference to movies starring actor Tom Cruise doesn't stop there. At one point, Garfield says he doesn't use stunt doubles in his scenes, just like the Hollywood star, who also doesn't use them since he does his own action scenes. At one point, after Jinx throws Garfield away, he stylishly lands on top of a pizza box and strikes a typical superhero pose reminiscent of poses made by the famous Spider-Man in his movies. And in the final scene of the movie, we see Nermal, one of Garfield's cartoon characters, make a surprise appearance, asking for the first slice of the Orange Cat's birthday cake for her, which is that slice we give to the dearest person to the birthday person. This is certainly one of the best animations I've watched this year, totally worth it. Since we know you enjoy videos about cartoons and animation, we're leaving 2 options for you now. I heard the video on the left is really good. I'd check it out right now if I were you.